Janine and Pam, you're 2 years in. Did you get a good, clean bill of health as far as being totally in remission? Is that how they word it?
Janine, you want to go first?
Yeah, Janine, did you?
Sure. I was always a little confused by that because I actually asked them after a year. I'm like, well, am I good? Do I consider myself in remission? And they said, yeah, pretty much. But I never had, like, I kept hearing of other women with breast cancer having the CT scans later on. I never got that. So I always kind of wondered in the back of my mind, oh, how do they really know?
How do they come about it? Well, Pam Stokes, were you told that you were in remission and good?
Well, I didn't. I mean, unlike Janine and Pam, they caught it very, very early. The tumor or the cyst was very, very, very tiny. They were surprised they even caught it because that's how tiny it was.
Oh, really?
And for something so tiny like that, it did go into one of my lymph nodes. And so that's why, I mean, they thought it was just until they went in there and did the, very close imaging, that's when they found that it did go into one of my lymph nodes.
Oh,
So
had any type of other medications or hormonal replacement or anything to prevent this from coming back? Did you opt to take?
No, I opted out. I was estrogen positive, so the cancer was attracted to my other ones, my thyroid medicine. And I just didn't want to take anything else and put anything more harmful into my body. Mm-hmm. And so they were pretty much like, well, if you take this, kill all the estrogen in your, in your system. And I went on a self-help group, and most of the women there were off this medicine within 6 months because of what it did to them.
That I know you take the collagen from H4W, you take Vitalogen.
Oh, absolutely. No, I have my creamsicles every morning.
Pam Paley, you're very, very healthy and the Pilates and everything that you do with hiking, and this woman does everything active and very, very fit. What do you do mainly to maintain your health? And you know what? I didn't ask you that the other day. Do you have any medications that you take as far as for preventative maintenance?
No, believe it or not, I still have to go and get checked. I actually am up to once a year now. It was for 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, got to once a year. Then I got back down to 6 months with the lymph node problems. So I'm actually now once a year, every 2 years for a TT scan, once a year for checkup. They had found little, I think it's benign tumors in my lungs after this all happened, but they don't know if they were there before or not. So they watch that very carefully. So I still once a year. Of course, when you go, you always want, like the night before is always, no matter how long it is, it's never a good feeling because it brings back everything. But for me, the day before, I put that out of my mind. And, I work out, I eat healthy. I always ate healthy. I was never I just try to live a healthy life and, in moderation. I love the fact that Janine can meditate. I wish I could. That's, tried it.
I tried meditating and it just my brain goes all over the place.
My brain goes over the place. Yeah, that's me.
It really does.
For me, for hiking, getting out in the water, doing things like that, that's my meditation. That's my peace, reading, things like that, gardening. That's where I get my mental health. I think everyone needs something that
for sure.
Turn off all the other stuff, whatever it is, and focus on something else. And then just making sure that I listen to my body. If something doesn't feel right, then I know it's not right. I think being more aware of your own body really, really helps because you have to take charge of your body and your health. You really do. I've really learned a lot of that, through that. Going through stuff, you learn that you have to be in charge. Like you were saying, Pam, about the different medicines, all kinds of medicines will put you on. It's a lot easier sometimes than you say, no, let me try this and, go from here and see what happens. And what works for everybody is so different. Each person.
That's so true.
You really have to pick that out. So you just, work your body, yourself.
Something very interesting though, because I always say if you cannot manage something if you don't know. And it's like, if you don't know what's going on with your body and you let it go, you can't manage it. So what are you supposed to do and take care of yourself if you don't know? So a lot of people will brush things off at times and ignore it and not go get things checked or not, no matter what it is. It's just, you cannot manage something if you don't know. Janine, what about you? What do you do to maintain your health? I know you're healthy. You look great. What do you do? Was there anything specific that you changed to maintain, your health? And do you also take any type of preventative maintenance, preventative cancer maintenance drugs or anything to that nature?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I take the tamoxifen. Sorry. So that,
Tamoxifen.
yes. And it was also estrogen positive.
Okay.
And the tamoxifen, I feel okay on it, except I have extreme joint pain now that I never had.
Oh.
And I used to be a very flexible person, and now I have to use my arms to get up from a chair. And I'm like, wow, so that has really changed my body for the worse. But I'm afraid not.
Is that a side effect by any chance?
Yes, the joint pain.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that's the number one joint. That was the number one thing, was joint pain. And that was like 99% of it was going to be joint pain.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Yep. So that's the awful part of it. What's also interesting, so I still exercise 5 days a week. I eat healthy. And it was very, when I was in having chemo and radiation, I actually had the doctors and nurses say, you're like a poster child for chemo. And it was because they said I exercised and took care of myself that I got through all the treatment much easier.
Oh, really? That's good.
No, I'm like, yay, it's paying off being healthy and exercising. And so I'm still, exercising and a good eating plan, and
That's
my
good.
kids have learned that it does pay to exercise.
Absolutely. It does take, yeah, for sure. Because it's like, I have a question. Pam Stokes, you said you did radiation.
Yeah.
Janine, you did chemotherapy. What is the major difference between those with radiation versus chemotherapy?
So they told me that I needed chemo because it had gone into my lymph nodes.
Okay.
So I had 12 weeks of chemo and then 6 weeks of daily radiation.
Oh, you had both.
I had both.
Oh, okay. Pam Stokes, you didn't have any chemotherapy then.
No, because it only went into one lymph node, and it was very, very small. They got it all out. I didn't need to do the chemo.
Oh, okay.
And
I actually thought chemo would have been first, but what do I know? I don't know. For some reason, that word radiation seems so.
Well, it's not not as bad as some people think. Excuse me, but it's just one of your breasts get really tan. You got this hot light on you. But it takes I think 2 minutes.
Oh, really?
You're in and out, except chemo, you're there for quite a few hours.
I see. Okay. I didn't realize that. Thank you for sharing that. What did you do, Pam? Did you take, because I know you had your bilateral where you had a double mastectomy, but did you have any of that type of chemo and radiation?
Chemo, and then at that point, they wouldn't let me go on the tamoxifen. There was a child study then. At that point, they said that I was too young. I hadn't gone through a change of life or anything else, or menopause. They were like, we're just going to do this and then watch you. So it was every 3 months I went in for tests instead. So that's what they did with me.
I didn't think to ask this until right now, but is it hereditary in your family? Is it in your family for any of you? What about you, Pam Paley?
My father's sister had a mastectomy at 40. two of my cousins on my dad's side, which is Sephardic side, in their 20s had either mastectomy or bilateral mastectomy. So there's like my dad's side there is, but my mom's side, no one has it. No one's had it. My grandmother lived to 105. So
Wow.
yeah, right. It's like, so you just don't know, kind of interesting enough. But the question whether or not it's a gene from my dad's side somehow, because it's kind of interesting that they all had it at a young age, and all below 50.
Wow, that is very young. Gosh, what about you, Janine? Did you have any type of hereditary background or gene or anything to that nature?
Well, I actually did the genetic testing and found that I didn't carry that gene.
Oh.
That is one of 16 kids. So the chance of cancer on his side is pretty great, So there was 2 of his sisters that had breast cancer. And then my mom's sister had breast cancer, but I did not carry the gene.
Okay. So what words of encouragement do you have for them that you would be able to offer that helped you? What would you tell someone, Pam Stokes?
Well, definitely, the support comes from the people who are close to you, and they're always there for you. And if you don't have that, there's so many tons of support groups out there that I found when I needed something extra, when I felt like I was a burden talking to somebody, when my family, friends, or my husband, that I'm like, gosh, maybe I need to reach out to somebody else. And there's tons of support groups out there. So, and just make sure you go get checked every year.
Mm-hmm. That I know what, I get checked every year too. So that is really, really good advice for every woman. What about you, Janine? What would be the words of encouragement that you would actually like to share?
Well, I think it's important to keep doing and living your life like as normal as possible. Like Pam was saying, keep busy, keep doing everything that you would normally do. And for me, at least, having a positive outlook on everything, mind over matter. And that's why I did all the positive reading.
Yeah.
Because I really think, you can I don't know if you can cure yourself with a positive mind, but it sure helps.
Oh, I agree with that for sure. Pam Paley is an extremely positive person. Please share the words of wisdom, and encouragement of, that you would share with someone.
I think for me, again, being positive is definitely important. Doing the things that you love doing as much as you can, even if it's slightly different than the way you did. And opening yourself up to all different avenues. Like you said, there's lots of different resources, lots of different support groups, and also knowing that cancer doesn't mean the end. Cancer is the beginning of a different lifestyle maybe, or a different life, but it's a life. And that you can go on living an amazing life, having had cancer or having cancer. It doesn't end there, it just starts a different chapter. And you have to be open to that. And there's so much to be gained from it. You will meet amazing people. Other people will get to know you, and you'll have friends in your life you may never have had before. So it's just allowing that to happen. It's being positive. You have to be,
That is true. They say, positivity and no toxic things going in your life will help you to get through so much more. I so appreciate the openness and taking a moment to actually share your stories and what you've dealt with. You all look amazing, and especially in the Health for Wealth shirts. Yay! And I really, really appreciate that and helping to support other people going through this as well and getting your story out there. Have a really, really great day. I'm Patria Leone with Health for Wealth. Stay safe, stay healthy, and do something positive.
Visit forhealthywealthy.com and become a part of this fight.